Bobby Bones Show now.
Scott Stapp.
I'm going to start this interview, Scott, with something that I don't say to a lot of people, but man, I love you.
I love you too,
I love you,
man.
man. We had a chance to spend some time, a couple times, and I'm like, Scott Stapp, he's so famous. And then you're just like that super dude. Like, my friend Natalie Stovall messaged me the other day too, and she was like, hey, Scott was up at the Opry, and she was like, I didn't know if you'd remember, and he ends up going, hey, will you sing with me? Like, dude, everybody loves you. Like, I don't know. Did everybody always love you? Or is this like a version of Scott that's like, I'm just kind of appreciating everything?
I'm appreciating everything. I mean, you go through waves in this business, and so you go through this love phase, and then it kind of goes down into a different phase, and now the love is returned, and I'm grateful.
The shows,
I think I appreciate it now much more than I ever did.
Yeah,
before.
I was going to ask, like the shows that you guys are playing, they're massive. Did you expect a Creed Reemergence ever to the level it is now?
I had no expectations of it ever, coming back as big as it has. I mean, the last tour was sold out. I mean, we were doing 20,000+ a night. I mean, it was crazy, and I was grateful. There were moments, man, where my eyes were just watering with gratitude.
Emotional because why?
Just because I know what it's like to have it, and I know what it's like to not. And so there's a much greater appreciation and respect for everything and everyone around me. It takes a village.
What is your favorite part of your job?
Writing music, being in the studio. That's the favorite.
Do you write for other people at all, or are you just Scott Stapp creating it?
I have written songs for other people. I've submitted them and whatnot, but I'm known for what I do with the music I write for myself and for Creed.
When you sing, there is a definite passion from your voice, a definite passion from your body. You also sing in a way that not a lot of people can emulate, because how you sing is very difficult. I've tried, even in the shower, I cannot get there. If you're sick, do you have to take it down a key? Do you ever have to drop it down? Because it seems so hard, so difficult to sing how you sing so often.
Well, you don't sing sick. I can't do it. So
You're just like, I got a cold, show's off.
I have to,
We played with you, and I remember thinking, I don't know how he does this every night, because you go so hard. Do you feel a pressure to keep yourself extremely healthy because of that?
Very much so. Very much so. At this stage in my life and in my career, health is my number one priority for all aspects of my life. As a father, as a musician, and as a touring performer, it's critical.
Do you ever go to a restaurant and notice somebody is Googling to see if that's you're standing next to, and you see their phone, you're like, Scott, do you ever see that? Or they're on your Instagram seeing if that's you?
I've never seen that. It's probably happened. I definitely see the looks when people kind of give me a double look, where do I know him from? But I'm sure that there's been some Googling going on.
Are you ever like, hey, you can just ask, because at times people may be just staring and following, and you can be like, hey, you can just ask for a picture. You ever do that? Guys, because it's an awkward thing, because I've done that before, and they're like, no, I wasn't trying to get a picture. I was just looking up ahead of you. But I think if people are following you around, are you ever like, yeah, it's me, guys, I would love to take a picture with you?
Yeah, I have. Just recently at the Opry, I was backstage, and I saw this young man. He was probably about 10 or 11 years old, and he looked at his mom, and they looked at me, and they were trying to figure out what to do. And I was like, hey, come on over here. And that's exactly what he wanted. So, I never turn down pictures.
Black Butterfly. How many times take you to sing that one through?
Oh, man.
Feels difficult. I'm be honest. Feels difficult.
With that particular recording session and writing session, I was writing and immediately recording, because I felt on this current record it was important for me to capture the moment of creation, because everything was so emotional. I was going through so much in my life, so much of my personal life and things that I was dealing with were coming out in the studio. And I didn't feel like I could go back and recapture that like I've done in the past by, making demos and then going back in and re-singing. So a lot of that, I'll be honest with you, was literally in the moment of creation. I would jump up to the mic, sing, go back, rewrite some lyrics, jump up and sing. I can't remember exactly how many times, but it wasn't many.
But singing inspired then is a bit different, because I mean, if you're
Yes.
writing it, you're singing inspired rather than
Yeah.
3 months later hopping into a studio.
Yeah, and I wanted to capture that on this record. It was important to me.
What does fame feel like?
You know, at this point in my career, I'm grateful. I mean, it's provided an incredible life for my children, incredible opportunities for me and for them. And so I'm grateful. I understand it in a whole different way than I did when I was young. I understand, you know, the impact and the influence that I have, and the responsibility that comes with it. So it's definitely something that I'm grateful for. You know, I'm living a life of gratitude, man, because I've had the high highs and the low lows, like I shared with you before. And so when you get a second chance or a third chance or a fourth chance, you don't take it for granted.
What did fame feel like in your 20s?
Man, I was flying so high, and, you know, I had blinders on, and I was so naive, so idealistic, and literally went into it expecting the outcome. You know, there was no plan B. You know, when it was Creed, you know, and the guys would share with you that, you know, that's how I looked at it. We are going to make it. We're going to be the biggest band in the world, and I believe that.
Pre-success, you had this.
Pre-success, yeah. And they would share with you in an interview, if you interviewed them, that I talked like that at band rehearsal. And that was just, I had no idea how difficult and, you know, what an anomaly it is to have that kind of success. I expected it. I thought that's what was supposed to happen. And it wasn't till, you know, when we went through the phase where it was gone, where I realized, you know, what a gift that was, how fortunate I was, and that it was not something that happens to a lot of people. And so, you know, again, I'm just living grateful.
Whose idea was it? And I'm going to do a sound. You tell me if you know where it comes from. You know what that is?
Yes, that is Jagger Stapp. That's his heartbeat.
On with arms wide open.
Yeah, we
That's
actually.
his actual heartbeat. It's not his like Bobby was making that sound with his throat.
Yeah, mine didn't sound like a heartbeat. Mine sounded like I was choking on something.
That,
Yes.
that is
Okay.
that
It was
on
his
the
heart.
song and with arms wide open. We actually recorded Jagger's heartbeat while he was in the womb.
Wow.
And
That's so cool.
put that on the record. Yeah.
Because when I think of like you guys' songs, and I was a massive fan, and actually that's when I used to pay for tickets to go to stuff. Like I paid. I'll take a reimbursement if you want. But I remember thinking, like, of everything that I think of, the first thing that I think of is that heartbeat before the song, before the guitar riff starts. I did not know that was your son. That is awesome. What does he think about that?
This may be the first time when he listens to this morning. This may be the first time that we've talked about it, or that he knows. I may have told him years ago, but we haven't talked about it in so long.
Intellectual property is going to sue. I feel it right now. He's like, "That's my heartbeat. You can't do that." Did you feel like you were charismatic as a young man or a kid enough to be a front man, or did it develop?
I think I definitely had a charismatic aspect to my personality, especially to my performances. I'm much different in my private life. You know, I'm kind of a hermit, you know, kind of recluse a little bit. But yeah, I definitely, you know, began to understand that there was a charisma about my performances, that I was just out there reacting to the music, to the energy, to the vibe. But looking back, I can definitely see that was something that was, you know, magnetic and that connected with people.
Will you tell me about your Opry performance that day?
That was, you know, I've only been extremely nervous a couple other times in my career, you know, where you hear that expression, your knees are knocking. I never knew what that felt like until I sang God Bless America, Game 4 of the World Series, when the Red Sox won. I got on top of the dugout, and my knees were literally shaking uncontrollably. And I almost got to that point the other night at the Opry as everything began to sink in, to realize what an honor and a privilege it was to get that invitation, and how I was greeted by everyone. And I felt the nerves like, you better have a good performance. I realized that it was something that was going to last forever. And by the grace of God, my voice showed up, and it was a good night.
I see a lot of people say Creed saved my life. Like, they say that. Your music resonates in different ways to a lot of people, especially that are overcoming personal struggles. What song would you say most people bring up to you with that sentiment?
I think most recently, it's been One Last Breath. That song has been, connecting with the audience in this younger generation in a profound way. For years and years, it was With Arms Wide Open and Higher. But One Last Breath has just surged. And I think a lot of people understand what it feels like to kind of be at the end of your rope and beaten down by life when you realize that it's not quite what we think it is when we're a kid. And sometimes we feel like giving up. But like that song says, I still believe. And I think that moment of inspiration in the bridge of that song really identifies with people and inspires them, and it definitely did me, in writing that song.
What do you eat before a show? Because there's something that gives you like bad heartburn and you don't want to eat it?
I don't eat 3 hours before a show, and I have to be really careful because you're right.
When did you figure out
you don't want to?
It needed to be 3 hours.
There's just a time limit. I'm such a routine-oriented guy.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be careful because I have had that little burp there with tasting something spicy. When I'm on stage years and years ago, and I realized I can't do that anymore. So, no spicy foods, eat clean, and give myself a good 3 hours before the show.
I'm going to ask you 2 Mount Rushmore type questions. So let's take all of your music off of it. But like the 4 artists that influence you most, if you had to do a Mount Rushmore as a child, young man, who would you put on your Mount Rushmore?
I would put Elvis, Def Leppard, U2, and The Doors.
Did you get a chance to meet Elvis? Would have been tough.
Yeah.
That'd have been tough for you to meet. The Doors would have been tough.
I did get to, of course, I didn't meet Jim. He'd passed. But I did get a chance to rehearse with The Doors for about a week and play a show on VH1 with The Doors, record some Doors songs for a record with the remaining members of the band. So that was an incredible moment. I did get to meet The Edge from U2. I was going to meet Bono. He had something going on, and The Edge came over and put his arm around me. And he's like, hey, Bono's got stuff going on right now. And, he had this killer, accent. He had Bono's back, which I thought was extremely cool. And so I've had a lot of, milestone memories that, it's like pinch me. It's a dream come true.
Def Leppard guys?
Another funny story. I'm glad you said that. I was in the UK doing press for a record in like 2012 or 13. And I went into a radio station, and one of the guys from Def Leppard worked at the radio station at that time, and he interviewed me.
Oh, wow.
So it was an interesting thing there.
Now, if I go Mount Rushmore of Creed songs, what would you put on that?
Oh, that's got to be, One Last Breath, My Sacrifice, Higher, and Arms Wide Open.
Mine was Quarters in Session.
Yeah, that's another one too. I guess we could. I guess we could throw that one up there too.
That's my part right there.
You got it, brother.
Dude.
You got to come at Bridgestone and sing with us, man.
Can you imagine? Everybody leaves. The biggest Creed fans ever be like, "Is this a joke? Like, what's happening right now?" So I do want to ask about Dorothy.
Yes.
So tell me about Dorothy. I've heard so much about her. I have not met her, and you have this song, "If These Walls Could Talk," with Dorothy. What about her makes you think that she's something special?
Her voice just blew me away when I saw her at a show that she had opened for us. She's got a generational voice. It has so much character, so much soul. And when we wrote the song, and I was looking for a female vocalist to do a duet on, when I heard her sing, I knew she was the one. And I think what made it even more impactful is I was in car line picking up my kids from school, and I always run stuff by my daughter. She's a musician. She plays, she records, and she's been writing and playing since she was 4 or 5 years old. So she's my litmus test, and I also, in part of kind of teaching her how to write songs and produce and other things, I always play songs for her, ask for her input, should I edit here, should I edit there? So I picked her up, and I had just gotten the song with Dorothy on it. And I said, hey, baby, I want to play something. I want your honest feedback, if there's any edits or changes. And I didn't tell her that there was a female vocal on this version. She had only heard the version with me on it. So we're driving home. I play the song. Dorothy comes in, and she looks at me, and tears are coming down her face, and she's got goosebumps all over her body. And she said, Daddy, who is that? And I knew right then that I made the right choice, went with my instincts, and, she was the one.
When writing and creating new music, whenever you have songs and albums that have gone platinum, super platinum, diamond, Jupiter, I don't really know all how high it gets, but you guys have it all. How do you kind of compete with yourself, or how do you stay true to who you were versus how you want to grow as an artist?
For me, I just stay in the moment, and I stay in I don't think about the past. I don't think about the future. I'm in the moment creating based on what I'm feeling and experiencing and what is inspiring me at that time. And I really have always been that way. Back in the day, when people would talk about, oh, it's your sophomore record, are you concerned, after Creed had blown up on my own prison. And when I got asked those questions, I kind of stepped back, and I was like, should I be thinking this way? I don't even think that way. I'm in the moment. I'm creating what's on my heart now. I'm not thinking about any pressure or trying to be or do anything. Everything is just right now, coming from the heart, and wrapping those lyrics and those melodies in the music that fits the moment.
I listen to Higher Power. It's been out a while, right? I'm not crazy. It's been out since...
It's been out since, I think, March or April, yeah.
So I've listened to it. It's been a while since I've sat and deep dove it. Are there songs that are kind of like folky or like different than just metal or like electric guitar tone? Am I crazy?
Yeah, no, you're not crazy. The album's very layered, very textured. Songs like You're Not Alone, very acoustic, other stripped down instruments, walls. If These Walls Could Talk is another one. Then I end the record with Weight of the World, which is another kind of just vocal, clean guitar. So it's not your typical rock record. It just kind of is what it is. I didn't plan it that way. The dressing and the music that wrapped the vocal melodies and the lyrics were just appropriate for the song. I didn't think about it. I didn't go in with any particular idea of I'm trying to make this record. The record just kind of made itself.
Dang, I wish my work made itself. Mm-hmm. I'm over here slaving away, like trying to get crap to be funny, and like I'm never like, it made itself. So Creed extended their summer '99 reunion tour, and I'm looking at the dates. So you're going more dates in November all the way through November 15th. I'm looking at, I watch and see how big. I mean, you guys are selling a lot of tickets. That's got to be so fun that people are just dying to come back.
It's put a lot of pressure on me, I'll be honest with you. When I found out that the average tickets were being sold to 18 to 35-year-olds, I thought, okay, we've got a younger audience. I'm thinking maybe half the audience or less is going to be that demographic. And about 2 shows in, I asked the audience how many people are here for the first time for a Creed show. And about 90% of the audience raised their hand. And so from that show on, I'm 51. I was like, I've got to win this audience. This could be a one and done. You know what I mean? This could be a bucket list for these folks. And so it was like, okay, I got to go back to I got to turn it on like I'm 25. And, by the end of the tour, I was walking around like a retired NFL player. My knees are shot, I'm my elbow, everything. But I felt like I had to win them over, just like it was 1996, 97 all over again.
So all the way until December, and all the cities our shows in. I mean, Oklahoma City, Little Rock, Kansas City, Nashville, Biloxi, Corpus. I could keep going, but go to the website, which is creed.com. Some more of our friends, 3 doors down, like love Brad, been close to Brad. Like it's awesome. It's so cool to see what you guys are doing now and how much people care. And it's hard to get anybody to care about anything. It's just anything at all. It's hard to get people to care about anything. And the fact that you guys are just crushing it, that's super fun. Final question. Well, 2 final questions. Do you ever sing your old hits in the shower?
When I'm preparing for tour, I will sing.
What's the
old
one
stuff
in the shower?
I mean, I go through the set list. You know what I mean, and kind of.
It's a long shower.
Yeah.
Get my voice.
That's a long shower. He comes out full wrinkled. He's like, I'm so wrinkled.
When I say shower, I mean bathroom too.
Yeah.
So it's into the shower, during the shower, after the shower, just to kind of get the voice.
I'll for sure be like, can you take me higher? That's a shower song.
Yeah.
Because that sound, that's the only place I sound good singing that one. Is higher. With arms wide open, I can kind of do that. As you heard, I'm pretty good at that one here.
Yeah, you are.
That's pretty good.
You
there.
are. You got it, man.
I'm a massive fan, and I'm going to say as my final question. I'm not going to say exactly where, but is it true you work out at a very public gym?
Yes.
Because sometimes people will say, "I think I saw Scott Stapp at so and so," and I'm like, "No chance." Turns out, they're not lying.
There's a chance.
They're not lying.
Yeah.
He goes in,
That's awesome.
and also he's like jacked too.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't want to hop in a bench press and try to do the same weight. You'd have to take some off. You know how when you have to work out with a guy that's a little weaker than you, Scott, and you're like, go ahead and take the 10 off. That would be me.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll keep my mouth shut and just accept that.
Yes, that would be me. At Scott Stapp, you guys can follow him. The album is Higher Power. And if These Walls Could Talk with Dorothy, it's from the album, but it is not like a single yet, right? Am I correct on that?
It is not yet, but it is about to be.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. So
I'm ready to have that tier.
I'm excited about that, and we're really trying to find a spot where it'll land. So we got some good folks doing that research, and I'm ready to share it with the world because I think there's a lot of people out there that have felt those feelings, and I think you could connect with a lot of people.
Scott, thank you for coming in. You know I'm a big fan. I've said it 4 times, but
thank you, brother.
You're the coolest guy. You don't have to be the coolest guy. You've been the coolest guy to me. So thank you for today, and thank you for everything. And man, good luck. And I hope the tour continues to sell like crazy. And you have to keep extending this sucker.
Thank you so much.
All right, there he is. Scott Stapp, everybody. Nice job.